Admiral Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of the Time's eternal vigil times and watched his world die. The main screen showed red dots everywhere. Each red dot was an enemy ship. Each one belonged to the Drath swarm. There were too many to count. "Sir, we lost another cruiser," Lieutenant Jisoo said from her station. Her voice was steady, but Hyun-woo could hear the fear underneath. Hyun-woo nodded slowly. He had served with Captain Woojin for 20 years. Now, Woojin was dead, along with 800 crew members. That made it the 15th ship they had lost today. Yesterday they lost 23. The day before that, 18. The Valkyrie Confederation was dying. 300 years they had fought the swarm. 300 years of holding the line, protecting their 12 star systems from the insect creatures that ate entire worlds. The Valkyrie had always won before. They were the strongest civilization in this part of the galaxy. Everyone knew that. But now they were losing. "Ammunition status?" Hyun-woo asked. 20% on the flagship, Jisoo replied. "The fleet average is 15%. Some ships are down to 5%. Hyun-woo closed his eyes for a moment. 20%. Not enough to fight for more than a few hours. Not enough to stop what was coming. "And the mothership?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. "Still advancing on Velkar Prime," Jisoo said quietly. "It will reach our homeworld in 3 days. 3 days." 3 billion Valkyrie lived on their homeworld. Men, women, children, elders, and newborns. Artists, and farmers, and teachers. All of them would die when the mothership arrived. The swarm would consume everything. Hyun-woo looked at the tactical display again. The swarm mothership was massive. Bigger than a moon. It had destroyed 4 Valkyrie colonies already. Each time, it landed on the planet and released billions of drones. The drones ate everything. Plants, animals, buildings, people, everything. When they were done, the planet was just bare rock. Then, the mothership moved to the next world. Now it was heading for Velkar Prime, the heart of their civilization, their home. "Message from the Council, sir," the communications officer said. "They are requesting your presence at an emergency session." Hyun-woo sighed. Another council meeting. More arguing. More debates about impossible choices. But he had no choice. He was the fleet admiral. He had to go. "Commander Jin-woo, you have the bridge," Hyun-woo said. "I will return shortly." The council chamber was on the planet below. Hyun-woo took a shuttle down through the atmosphere. As they descended, he could see the cities lit up in the darkness. Millions of lights. Millions of people going about their lives, trying to pretend everything was normal, trying to ignore the fact that death was coming from the stars. The council was already assembled when he arrived. 12 counselors, 1 from each star system. Counselor Dae-hyun stood at the center podium. He was an old man, gray-haired and dignified. He had been a counselor for 40 years. He looked tired now. They all looked tired. "Admiral, thank you for coming," Dae-hyun said. "We need to discuss our options." "Options?" Hyun-woo said. "What options? We are out of ships, out of ammunition, out of time. The mothership will be here in 3 days, which is why we must consider alternatives," another counselor said. Counselor Mireille was younger, sharper. "We must think about what we have refused to think about before." Hyun-woo felt something cold in his stomach. "You mean them," he said. Silence fell over the chamber. Everyone knew what them meant. The humans. For 30 years, the humans had been sending messages. They came from far away, from the other side of the galaxy. They called themselves the Terran Federation. They wanted to make alliances. They wanted to be friends. They offered help, technology, military support. The Valkyrie had ignored them. The Valkyrie were the great civilization. The humans were newcomers, primitives who had only just learned to travel between stars. The Valkyrie did not need help from primitives. "We cannot," Counselor Taman said firmly. He was the oldest counselor, the most traditional. We cannot beg for help from lesser species. Our pride, our dignity, our pride, Counselor Mireille interrupted. Our pride will not matter when we are all dead. Our dignity will not save our children. Arguments erupted across the chamber. Voices rose, angry and desperate. Some counselors insisted they must maintain their honor. Others argued that survival was more important than pride. The debate raged for an hour. Finally, Counselor Daehyun raised his hand for silence. We will vote, he said. But first, let me propose a compromise. We will not send an official request for help. That would be too humiliating. Instead, we will send an automated distress beacon, a standard emergency signal. If the humans intercept it, they might come. Or they might not. But we will not have officially asked them. We will not have begged. Hyun-woo wanted to laugh, but it was too sad. A compromise between pride and survival. They would send a signal, but pretend they did not mean to. They would hope for rescue, but not admit they needed it. But he understood. The council had to save face. They had spent decades telling their people that the Valkyrie were superior to all others. To admit they needed help from humans would shatter that image. The vote was close. 7 counselors voted yes. 5 voted no. The signal would be sent. Hyun-woo returned to his ship. Lieutenant Jisoo was waiting for him on the bridge. What did they decide? She asked. We are sending a distress signal, Hyun-woo said. To human space. Jisoo's eyes widened. They agreed to ask for help? Not exactly, Hyun-woo said. We are sending an automated beacon. The council wants to pretend it is an accident. That way we can maintain our dignity. Jisoo was quiet for a moment. Do you think they will come? She asked. The humans? Hyun-woo looked at the tactical display. The red dots were still there. Still advancing. Still killing his people. I do not know, he said honestly. The signal will take 3 weeks to reach human space at faster than light speed. Even if they receive it immediately, even if they decide to help, they would need weeks to prepare a fleet and travel here. We do not have weeks. We have days. So it is hopeless, Jisoo said softly. Hyun-woo looked at his tactical officer. She was young, only 28 years old. She had her whole life ahead of her. Or she should have. Now she would probably die in 3 days, along with everyone else. Prepare the signal, he said. Use the strongest encryption we have. Aim it toward human territory. Maximum power. Jisoo worked at her console for several minutes. Then she looked up. Ready, sir. Send it, Hyun-woo ordered. Jisoo pressed a button. The signal launched from the Time's Eternal Vigil asterisk. A beam of encoded information racing toward the distant stars where the humans lived. A call for help that no one officially made. A desperate hope wrapped in pride. Hyun-woo watched it go on his display. Then he turned back to the tactical screen. The swarm was still coming. The mothership was still advancing toward Velkar Prime. All ships, he said into the fleet channel. This is Admiral Hyun-woo. We have 3 days. We will use every second. We will fight with everything we have. We will make them pay for every meter they advance. For Velkar. For our people. For our home. Responses came back from the surviving ships. 43 vessels. All that remained of the once mighty Valkyrie fleet. Damaged. Low on ammunition. Running on dying engines. But they would fight. They had no choice. Hyun-woo sat in his command chair and waited. Waited for the battle to resume. Waited for the end to come. Waited for a miracle that probably would not arrive. The distress signal raced through space toward human territory, carrying a message that no Valkyrie wanted to send. But all of them desperately needed someone to hear. 9 days had passed since they sent the signal. 9 days of constant fighting. The Valkyrie fleet was down to 31 ships now. 12 more had been destroyed. Thousands more crew members were dead. Admiral Hyun-woo had not slept in 2 days. He stood on the bridge of the Time's Eternal Vigil asterisk. drinking his 5th cup of coffee, watching the tactical display. The swarm mothership was close now, less than 1 day away from Velkar Prime. "Sir," Lieutenant Jisoo suddenly shouted, "I am reading spatial anomalies at the system edge." Hyun-woo turned sharply. "What kind of anomalies?" "I do not know," Jisoo said, her fingers flying over her console. "The readings are strange. It looks like wormholes, but not natural ones. Artificial wormholes, opening right at the edge of our system." "How many?" Hyun-woo asked, his heart starting to race. Jisoo's face went pale. "Hundreds, sir. Hundreds of wormholes opening. And I am detecting ships. Large ships. Very large ships." Hyun-woo stared at the display. This was impossible. The distress signal should barely have reached human space by now. Even if the humans got it immediately, even if they sent help right away, they could not be here for weeks, not 9 days. That was impossible. "Get me a visual," he ordered. The main screen changed. It showed the edge of their star system. And there, emerging from swirling portals of twisted space, came ships. Hundreds of ships. They were angular and brutal-looking, covered in armor plates and weapon systems. They were huge, bigger than any Valkyrie cruiser. "Incoming transmission," Communications Officer Minji said. "Audio and visual. They are hailing us." "Put it through," Hyun-woo said. A face appeared on the screen. A human face. The man wore a dark blue uniform with insignia on the collar. He had short black hair and calm, steady eyes. He looked directly at Hyun-woo. "Valkyrie forces, this is Admiral Tae-young of the Terran Federation 3rd Fleet," the human said. His accent was strange but understandable. "We received your beacon. Hold position. We are coming in." The transmission ended. Hyun-woo stood frozen, unable to speak. Around him, the bridge crew stared in shock. "Count them," Hyun-woo finally managed to say. "How many ships?" Jisoo checked her sensors. 300, sir. 300 human warships. And they are moving fast. Very fast." Commander Jinwoo appeared at Hyun-woo's side. "Sir, their lead ship. The readings are incredible. It is 4 times the size of our largest battleship. The amount of power it is generating. I have never seen anything like it." The human fleet moved into formation as they entered the system. The largest ship, a massive dreadnought, took the lead position. Smaller cruisers and destroyers arranged themselves in precise patterns around it. They moved with purpose, with confidence. They looked like a fleet that had done this many times before. "Get me a channel to that ship," Hyun-woo said. "The big one, the dreadnought." "Channel open, sir," Minji said. "This is Admiral Hyun-woo of the Valkyrie Confederation Defense Fleet," he began. "I must inform you that the distress signal was automated. It was not an official request for Admiral." The human voice interrupted. Admiral Tae-young appeared on screen again. "We are not here for conversation. Your people are dying. Point us at the enemy." Hyun-woo blinked. The human had just cut him off. No one cut off a Valkyrie admiral. But before he could respond, the human continued. "We have already detected the swarm positions through long-range scans," Tae-young said. "We are moving to intercept the mothership. We recommend your forces fall back to defensive positions around your homeworld. We will handle the swarm." The transmission ended again. The human fleet was already accelerating, moving past the Valkyrie ships toward the swarm mothership. They did not wait for permission. They did not ask for orders. They just acted. "Sir, what do we do?" Jisoo asked. Hyun-woo watched the human ships on his display. Part of him wanted to protest. This was a Valkyrie system. He was in command here. The humans could not just take over the battle. But another part of him, the part that had watched 1,500 ships become 31, the part that had seen thousands of his people die, that part said something different. That part said, "Let them help. All ships," Hyun-woo said into the fleet channel. Reform around Velkar Prime. Defensive positions. Stand by to support the human fleet. On the planet below, Counselor Dae Hyun watched the same displays in the council chamber. The other counselors gathered around him, all staring at the screens. They came, Counselor Mirai whispered. They actually came. 300 ships, another counselor said. How did they get here so fast? Dae Hyun felt his hands shaking. This was not supposed to happen. The signal was supposed to be a desperate last chance, something they could later claim was an accident. The humans were not supposed to actually come. And certainly not with such an overwhelming force. What will they demand from us? Counselor Taemin asked, his voice worried. What price will we have to pay for this intervention? No one had an answer. They could only watch, as the human armada approached the swarm. On the Times Eternal Vigil *, Lieutenant Jisoo monitored the human fleet's approach. Sir, they are moving at incredible speeds. Their acceleration should tear their ships apart, but their inertial dampeners must be far more advanced than ours. What about their weapons? Hyunwoo asked. Scanning now, Jisoo said. I am seeing kinetic accelerators, missile batteries, energy weapons I do not recognize. And, sir, I think those are gravity well generators. Artificial gravity weapons. Commander Jinwoo leaned over her console. Those are military-grade technologies we have only theorized about, he said. The humans actually built them. Quote, the human fleet reached weapons range of the swarm. The Drath ships, which had been advancing steadily toward Velkar Prime, suddenly changed direction. The swarm had noticed the new arrivals. Thousands of Drath fighters launched from the mothership, a black cloud of insect-like vessels swarming toward the human fleet. They are going to be overwhelmed, Jisoo said. The swarm is releasing everything it has. But Admiral Taeyang's voice came over an open channel, broadcasting to his entire fleet. All ships. Battle configuration. Remember your training. No mercy for the swarm. No quarter given. We end this today. The human ships transformed. Armor plates shifted. Weapon ports opened. Point defense systems activated. They did not slow down. They did not hesitate. They accelerated straight into the swarm of Drath fighters. What happened next made every Velkari officer watching gasp in shock. The human ships opened fire. But it was not the careful, measured fire of civilized warfare. It was a storm of destruction. Thousands of kinetic rounds launched at incredible speeds, creating walls of metal flying through space. Every Drath fighter that touched that wall simply exploded into fragments. Missiles streaked from human launchers by the hundreds. But these were not normal missiles. When they hit Drath ships, they did not explode on the outside. They buried themselves into the hulls first, then detonated from inside. Drath bioships ruptured from within. Their organic armor, useless. Energy weapons lanced through space, beams of concentrated power that cut Drath fighters in half. And the gravity weapons, those theoretical devices, created invisible zones where space itself warped. Drath ships caught in those zones were crushed, compressed into tiny balls of matter. By the ancestors, Commander Jinwoo breathed. They are not just fighting. They are destroying everything. In 60 seconds, the human fleet had killed 3,000 Drath fighters. The black cloud of swarm vessels that should have overwhelmed them was gone, reduced to debris and floating corpses. The Drath mothership responded, launching more fighters, more attack ships. It sent 10,000 this time. The humans killed them all. Captain Bora, commanding the Velkari cruiser Times Morningstar *, watched from her position near the planet. Her ship was damaged, engines failing, weapons empty. She had been preparing to die. Now she watched the humans fight with a ferocity she had never imagined possible. They fight like the swarm, her tactical officer said quietly. But worse, more aggressive, more efficient. No, Bora said, unable to look away from her displays. The swarm fights to consume. The humans fight to annihilate. There is a difference. The human dreadnought, The Time's indomitable will reached range of the mothership. Its main cannon charged. A massive weapon running the length of the ship. Energy readings spiked to levels that should have overloaded any power system. The cannon fired. A projectile, a simple piece of metal, but launched at a significant fraction of light speed. It hit the swarm mothership's forward section and punched completely through, leaving a hole the size of a city. On the Time's eternal vigil Hyun-woo watched in silence. The humans had been fighting for less than 5 minutes. In that time, they had accomplished what the Valkyrie fleet could not do in 3 days of constant battle. They had hurt the mothership. They had made it bleed. Message from Admiral Taeyang, Minji reported. Put it through, Hyun-woo said. The human admiral appeared on screen again. This time he was standing on his bridge, red alert lights flashing around him. But he looked calm, completely in control. Admiral Hyun-woo, Taeyang said. The mothership is preparing some kind of energy weapon. Big one. It is targeting your planet. We are going to stop it, but we need to board that ship. We are sending in Marines. If we fail, I recommend evacuation of your homeworld. You have about 30 minutes. 8. The transmission ended. Hyun-woo felt cold fear grip his heart. 30 minutes. If the humans failed, they had 30 minutes to somehow evacuate 3 billion people. It was impossible. But then again, the humans being here at all was impossible. Everything about this day was impossible. Captain Bora watched from the bridge of the Times, Morningstar Times, as 200 small craft launched from the human carriers. They were assault transports, armored and fast, each one carrying a squad of human marines. They are going to board the mothership, her tactical officer said. They cannot be serious. That is suicide. Bora had seen recordings of what happened inside swarm ships. The corridors were filled with warrior drones, creatures designed specifically for close combat. They had claws that could cut through armor, acid that could melt metal, speed that made them almost impossible to fight in confined spaces. No one boarded a swarm capital ship and survived. Get me a feed from those assault craft, Bora ordered. I want to see this. Her communications officer worked for a moment. They are broadcasting on open channels, Captain. I think they want us to watch. The screen showed the interior of one assault craft. 20 human marines sat in 2 rows, wearing powered armor suits. The armor was thick and angular, covered in weapons and equipment. Each marine held a rifle, but Bora could see other weapons too: shotguns, grenade launchers, some kind of cutting tools. One marine sat at the front, slightly apart from the others. His armor had different markings. A sergeant, Bora guessed. He was checking his weapons with calm, steady movements. 2 minutes to contact, a voice said over the transport speakers. Breaching charges ready. Remember your training, Marines. Fast and hard. No stopping. We get to that weapon core, and we blow it. Questions? No, sir. The Marines replied, in unison. Good. For Earth and her children. For Earth and her children, the Marines repeated. Bora felt a chill. These humans were about to die, and they knew it. But they showed no fear, no hesitation. They were calm, professional, ready. The assault craft hit the mothership's hull. Breaching charges detonated, blowing holes through the thick bio-armor. The Marines poured through, before the holes even stopped smoking. Bora's screen changed to show helmet camera feeds from multiple Marines. She saw the inside of the mothership. Organic walls, pulsing with life. Dim, bioluminescent lighting. And swarm drones, hundreds of them, rushing toward the breach points. The humans opened fire. The sound was deafening even through the camera feeds. Automatic weapons roared, filling the corridors with bullets. Drones fell, their bodies torn apart by the sustained fire. But more came. The swarm always had more. A drone got close, leaping at a Marine with claws extended. The Marine dropped his rifle, and caught the drone with his armored hands. The powered suit gave him incredible strength. He ripped the drone in half and threw the pieces aside, then picked up his rifle and kept firing. "They are fighting like machines," Bora's tactical officer whispered. "No," Bora said, watching closely. "They are fighting like a pack. See how they cover each other? How they move together? That is training. That is discipline." On the Times Eternal Vigil *, Lieutenant Jisoo tracked the human Marines' progress through the mothership. "Sir, they are advancing fast. Faster than should be possible. They have already penetrated 3 levels deep. How many casualties?" Admiral Hyunwoo asked. Jisoo checked her readings. 23 Marines dead so far. But they killed over 800 swarm drones. The exchange ratio is incredible. Commander Jinwoo was watching the tactical feeds. "They are not fighting defensively," he observed. "Every time they hit resistance, they push through it. They never stop. Never retreat." To regroup, one squad ran into a sealed door, a thick organic barrier that blocked the corridor. The sergeant, the one Bora had seen in the transport, did not slow down. He attached an explosive charge to the door, and his squad took cover. The charge exploded. The door blew inward. Swarm drones waited on the other side, ready to swarm through. But the humans threw grenades through the opening before the drones could move. The grenades exploded, killing dozens of drones instantly. The Marines rushed through the smoke and kept advancing. "Squad 2 is down," a voice said over the human combat channel. "Corridor 7 is blocked. Too many drones." "Copy that," another voice replied. "Squad 4. Blow a new corridor. Use the plasma cutters. We do not have time to go around." Bora watched as a different squad stopped at a wall. 4 Marines pulled out cutting tools. Bright torches that glowed white-hot. They cut into the organic wall of the mothership, melting through meters of living tissue. Behind them, other Marines kept firing, holding off the endless waves of swarm drones. The cutters finished. The Marines kicked through the weakened wall and pushed into a different corridor, creating a new path forward. "They adapt so fast," Commander Jinwoo said in wonder. "They do not follow a fixed plan. Every squad is making its own decisions." The human fleet continued its assault on the mothership's exterior. More missiles slammed into its hull. Energy weapons burned deep wounds into its bio-armor. The massive dreadnought fired its main cannon twice more, each shot leaving enormous holes. But the mothership was huge. It could take incredible damage and still function. And time was running out. "Sir, I am detecting a massive energy buildup inside the mothership," Jisoo reported. "It is the extinction weapon. It is charging." Hyunwoo felt his blood run cold. "How long until it fires?" 15 minutes, Jisoo said quietly. 15 minutes. The human Marines had 15 minutes to reach the weapon core and destroy it. If they failed, the extinction weapon would fire. It would sterilize Velkar Prime. 3 billion people would die. Inside the mothership, Sergeant Minho led his squad deeper into the organic labyrinth. His helmet display showed the route to the weapon core, marked by blue arrows. They had to go down 3 more levels and across half a kilometer of corridors. Impossible. But they would try anyway. "Contact front," one of his Marines shouted. A group of warrior drones charged down the corridor, bigger than the normal fighters. These were the elite guards. Creatures bred specifically to protect important areas. They were faster, stronger, deadlier. Minho's squad opened fire. "Switch to armor piercing," Minho ordered. His Marines changed ammunition types. The new rounds punched through the drones' thick carapaces. More drones fell. But one got through. It hit Private Soyeon, its claws cutting deep into her armor. She screamed and fell. The drone raised its claws to strike again. Minho was there in a second. He grabbed the drone and pulled it off Soyeon. The creature turned on him, claws slashing. One cut found a weak point in his armor. cutting into his shoulder. Pain exploded through his body. Minho ignored it. He drew his sidearm and fired point-blank into the drone's head. It collapsed. He dropped it and helped Soyeon to her feet. "Can you walk?" he asked. "Yes, sir," she gasped. "Armor held. I am okay." "Good. Keep moving." They ran. Behind them, more drones were coming. Always more drones. The swarm never stopped, never tired, never gave up, but neither did the humans. Captain Bora watched the timer count down. 10 minutes. The Marines were still 2 levels away from the weapon core. "They are not going to make it," her tactical officer said. Bora did not answer. She watched Sergeant Minho's squad fight through another group of drones. Watched them blast through another sealed door. Watched them keep going, even as more Marines fell. 8 minutes. "Squad 6 is gone," a voice said over the combat channel. "All members lost, but we mapped the route past Section 12, sending coordinates to all squads. Squad 6 was gone. An entire squad of Marines. Dead. But they had found a route forward before they died. And they made sure the other squads knew about it." 6 minutes. Minho's squad reached a large chamber. His helmet display showed they were directly above the weapon core. They needed to go down 1 more level. But the chamber was full of drones. Hundreds of them. They were waiting, defending the final approach to the weapon core. "All squads. This is Sergeant Minho," he said into his radio. "We are at the final chamber. Heavy resistance. We are going through." "Copy that, Sergeant," Admiral Taeyang's voice replied. "All squads. Support Sergeant Minho. Whatever it takes." 5 other squads converged on the chamber from different entrances. Over 100 Marines hit the drones from 6 directions at once. The battle was brutal. Marines and drones died together, the chamber filling with bodies. Bora could barely watch, but the humans kept pushing, kept fighting, kept dying to move forward. 4 minutes. Minho saw a hole in the floor, an opening that led down to the next level. He ran for it, shooting drones that tried to block him. 2 of his Marines followed. The rest were still fighting. They jumped through the hole and fell 3 meters to the floor below. Minho's armor absorbed the impact. He was in a circular chamber. In the center was a massive organic structure, pulsing with energy. "The weapon core. Found it," he said into his radio. "Planting charges now. 3 minutes." Minho pulled explosive charges from his pack. His hands were steady despite the pain from his shoulder wound. He placed the charges around the base of the weapon core, setting them to detonate together. Drones poured through the hole above, jumping down after him. His 2 Marines held them off, firing until their weapons overheated. 2 minutes. "Charges set," Minho said. "Detonating in 30 seconds. All squads, fall back." "Negative, Sergeant," Admiral Taeyang's voice said. "Not enough time to evacuate. Blow it now." Minho understood. If he waited 30 seconds, the weapon would fire. The planet below would die. His squad, all the Marines still fighting in the chamber above, they did not have time to escape. But 3 billion people lived on that planet. Minho armed the charges immediately. 1 minute. "It has been an honor, sir," Minho said calmly. "The honor was ours, Sergeant," Taeyang replied. Minho pressed the detonator. The charges exploded. The weapon core ruptured. Energy cascading out of control. Secondary explosions rippled through the mothership's structure. The extinction weapons charge collapsed, the power feedback destroying entire sections of the ship. On the Times Eternal Vigil *, alarms suddenly stopped blaring. Jisoo looked at her console in shock. "Sir, the energy buildup is gone. The weapon is destroyed." "They did it." Hyunwoo sat heavily in his command chair. "The Marines?" he asked, though he already knew. "All lost, sir," Jisoo said softly. "No survivors from the boarding operation. 200 human Marines had gone into that mothership. None came back, but they had saved 3 billion lives." Admiral Taeyang's voice came over the fleet channel. All ships, focus fire on the mothership's core. Now, the entire human fleet unleashed everything they had, 300 ships firing every weapon. The mothership, already dying from internal damage, could not withstand the barrage. Its biostructure ruptured, atmosphere vented into space, secondary explosions cascaded through its massive bulk. The mothership died, and with it, the swarm's coordination collapsed. The remaining Droth ships scattered, leaderless and confused. Human fighters hunted them down without mercy. The Battle of Velkar Prime was over. The silence after the battle felt strange. For days, the space around Velkar Prime had been filled with weapons, fire, explosions, death. Now, it was quiet. Only the sound of damaged ships limping back to safe positions. Only the glow of debris burning in the planet's atmosphere. Admiral Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of the Time's eternal vigil times and watched the human fleet regroup. They moved efficiently, organizing themselves into formation. Rescue ships were already searching the debris fields, looking for survivors from both human and Valkyrie vessels. Casualty report, he said quietly. Lieutenant Jisoo had been compiling the numbers. Her voice was hollow when she spoke. Valkyrie losses. 1,400 ships destroyed over the past 3 weeks. 17,000 crew members dead. Another 6,000 wounded. 1. Hyunwoo closed his eyes. 17,000 dead. 17,000 families who would receive notifications. 17,000 funerals to hold. Human losses? He asked. 15 ships destroyed in the battle. 203 Marines lost in the boarding operation. Total casualties. Approximately 3,000. Personnel. 3,000 humans had died to save a people who had ignored them for 30 years. A people who had considered them primitive. A people who could not even officially ask for help without shame. Sir, incoming message from Counselor Dae-hyun, Communications Officer Minji reported. He is ordering you to distance the Valkyrie fleet from the human ships. The Council wants us to maintain separate positions. Hyunwoo felt anger rise in his chest. Distance ourselves? He repeated. They just saved our entire civilization. The Council is concerned about appearances, sir, Minji said carefully. They worry what other galactic civilizations will think. Seeing the Valkyrie saved by humans. Hyunwoo turned to face his communications officer. Tell the counselor I refuse, he said clearly. Our people are fighting alongside the humans. I will not abandon allies in combat, no matter how uncomfortable their help makes the council. Minji blinked in surprise. Sir, the council gave you a direct order. The council is not here, Hyunwoo said. They did not watch their ships die. They did not see the humans sacrifice themselves for our people. I refuse the order. Thanks for watching. The sometimes next one. If they want to court-martial me later, they are welcome to try. A small smile appeared on Minji's face. I will relay your message, sir. Captain Bora's ship, the Times Morning Star *, was drifting slowly on dying engines. They had taken heavy damage in the last battle. One engine was completely gone. Life support was failing in 3 sections. They could not maneuver, could barely move at all. A human ship approached them. It was a rescue vessel, smaller than the warships, but still larger than Bora's cruiser. It pulled alongside the Times, Morning Star Times, carefully. Valkyrie vessel, this is TFNS Times Good Samaritan *, a voice said over the radio. We are reading critical damage to your ship. Do you need assistance? Omani. Bora looked at her crew. They were exhausted, injured, barely holding things together. Her pride wanted to say no. They could handle it themselves. They were Valkyrie. But then she remembered watching the human Marines die to save her world. She remembered watching them fight without hesitation, without asking for anything in return. This is Captain Bora of the Times, Morning Star *, she replied. Yes, we need assistance. Our engines are failing and life support is critical. Copy that, Captain, the human said. We are sending over repair teams now. Hang tight. Within minutes, human engineers were boarding the Times Morning Star Asterisk. They brought equipment, spare parts, medical supplies. They moved through the ship with purpose, finding problems and fixing them. They did not ask permission. They did not wait for orders. They just helped. One human engineer, a young woman named Unji, worked on the main engine core, alongside Bora's chief engineer. They did not speak the same technical language, but somehow they communicated, pointing, demonstrating, working together. Your ships are very different from ours, Bora's engineer said. But your technology is impressive. These power regulators are far more efficient than what we use. Unji smiled. Different approaches, she said. You build for elegance. We build for durability. Both have advantages. On Velkar Prime, Councillor Dae-hyun paced in the council chamber. The other councillors watched him nervously. News of the battle had spread across the planet. People were celebrating in the streets. They were alive. Their world was saved. But the council was worried. We need to control the narrative, Councillor Taemin said. We cannot let people think the Valkyrie needed saving. We cannot appear weak. 3 billion people are alive because of the humans, Councillor Mireille said sharply. What narrative do you want to control? The truth? The truth is complicated, Dae-hyun said. Yes, the humans helped us. But we cannot allow our civilization to be seen as dependent on them. Our status in the galaxy, our reputation as a powerful people, it is all at risk. Our status? Mireille stood up, her voice rising. Our reputation? Counselor, our status would have been extinction. Our reputation would have been nothing, because we would all be dead. The argument continued. Some counselors wanted to minimize the human contribution. Others argued for honesty. The debate grew heated. Finally, a junior counselor named Kyung-soo spoke up. Perhaps we are asking the wrong question, he said quietly. Perhaps we should not ask how to manage our image. Perhaps we should ask what the humans want from us. Silence fell. Everyone turned to look at him. They came without being asked, Kyung-soo continued. They lost 3,000 people saving us. They are currently helping repair our ships, treating our wounded, asking nothing in return. What do they want? No one had an answer. Then maybe we should ask them, Kyung-soo said. Admiral Hyun-woo received a message from Admiral Tae-yang. The human wanted to meet in person. Hyun-woo agreed immediately. The ship was enormous inside. Corridors wide enough to drive vehicles through. Crew members moving with purpose. Everything clean, organized, efficient. Hyun-woo was led to the observation deck. Admiral Tae-yang was waiting there. He stood looking out at the planet below, at Velkar Prime glowing in the light of its sun. He turned when Hyun-woo entered. Admiral, Tae-yang said, offering his hand. Thank you for coming. Hyun-woo shook the offered hand. Human custom. Thank you for saving my people, he said. I do not have adequate words to express our gratitude. Tae-yang smiled slightly. Gratitude is not necessary, but I will accept it. They stood together, looking at the planet. 3 billion people down there. Alive, because of the humans. I need to ask you something, Hyun-woo said. Why did you come? We never accepted your alliance offers. We ignored your diplomatic missions. That distress signal was automated, not an official request for help. You had no obligation to come, yet you brought 300 ships. You lost 3,000 people. Why? Tae-yang was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Do you know much about human history, Admiral? Some, Hyun-woo admitted. I know you are a relatively young spacefaring species. Only about 200 years. Prom. Relative. Oh. 80. Yes, Tae-yang said. And before that, we spent thousands of years fighting each other. Humans against humans. We had wars that killed millions. We created weapons that could destroy our entire planet. We came very close to extinction, several times. He turned to face Hyunwoo directly. We learned something during those dark times. We learned that pride is worthless when people are dying. That dignity means nothing if you are dead. That asking for help is not weakness, it is wisdom. We also learned, Taeyang continued, that the strong have an obligation to help the weak. Not for reward, not for conquest, but because it is right, because we have the power to help, and that power comes with responsibility. Hyunwoo felt something shift inside him. Your government did not call for help, he said slowly, repeating what Taeyang had said before. But someone did. Yes, Taeyang said. Someone was desperate enough to send that beacon. Official or not. That was enough. Someone needed help. We could provide it. The decision was simple. Simple, Hyunwoo repeated. He thought about the council's arguments. About maintaining dignity. About managing their image. About pride and status. And he thought about the human Marines who died without hesitation. Your council is probably worried, Taeyang said. They are probably wondering what we want from you. What price you will have to pay for our intervention. Hyunwoo nodded. Yes. They are very worried. You can tell them we want nothing you are not willing to give freely, Taeyang said. We do not want territory. We do not want tribute. We do not want to control you or conquer you. Then what do you want? Hyunwoo asked. Taeyang smiled. If you want to give us something, share your knowledge, your art, your culture, your history. Tell us about your people, not just your technology. And next time you hear a distress call, maybe answer it yourself. Pay it forward. Hyunwoo stood there, stunned. The humans wanted nothing. They had come, fought, died, and wanted nothing but friendship and the hope that the Valkyrie would help others in the future. I do not understand, he said honestly. How can your people be like this? How can you sacrifice so much and ask for nothing? Because someone has to, Taeyang said simply. Someone has to be willing to help without expecting reward. Someone has to break the cycle of self-interest and pride. Humanity decided to be that someone. He looked back at the planet. Besides, he said, those 3 billion people down there, they have families, children, dreams. They deserve to live. That is reason enough. Hyunwoo felt his eyes burning. He realized he was crying. A Valkyrie admiral, crying in front of a human. But he did not care anymore. His pride, his dignity, it all seemed so small now, so insignificant compared to what really mattered. Thank you, he said again. Thank you for showing us what we should have been. Taeyang put a hand on his shoulder. You can still become that, he said. This is not the end of your story, Admiral. It is a new beginning. What you do next? That is up to you. 3 days after the battle, the human fleet prepared to leave. Their ships were repaired, their wounded treated, their dead honored with proper ceremonies. Admiral Taeyang had received new orders from Terran Federation Command. Another distress signal from a different sector. Another crisis that needed the fleet. Admiral Hyunwoo stood in the docking bay of the Times Indomitable Will *, watching human crew members load supplies. They moved with the same efficiency they showed in battle. Quick, organized, professional. You are leaving so soon? He asked Taeyang. The human admiral nodded. We are needed elsewhere. But we are leaving behind engineering teams to help with your repairs. Medical staff to help with your wounded. They will stay as long as you need them. Your government approved this? Hyunwoo asked. Taeyang smiled. My government expects it. This is what we do. We do not just fight battles and leave. We help rebuild. We heal. We teach. Lieutenant Jisoo approached with a datapad. Sir, The final casualty numbers are confirmed. Human losses: 15 ships, 3,247 personnel. Valkyrie losses across the entire campaign: 1,416 ships, 17,309 personnel. She paused, then added quietly. Human rescue teams recovered another 400 Valkyrie survivors from damaged ships. They would have died without intervention. 400 more lives saved. Hyun-woo felt the weight of that number. The humans kept saving his people, even after the battle was over. On Velkar Prime, the council had finally reached a decision. Councillor Daehyun stood before a crowd of thousands in the capital plaza. Cameras broadcast his words across the entire planet. "People of Velkar," he began. 3 days ago, our civilization faced extinction. The swarm was at our doorstep. Our fleet was broken. Our defenses had failed. He paused, gathering courage for what came next. In our pride, we believed we could handle this crisis alone. We believed asking for help was weakness. We were wrong. Murmurs ran through the crowd. A Valkyrie counselor admitting they were wrong was almost unprecedented. The Human Terran Federation answered our distress call, Daehyun continued. They came without hesitation. They fought alongside our brave defenders. They sacrificed 3,000 of their own people to save 3 billion of ours. They asked for nothing in return. He looked directly into the cameras. I stand before you today to say this. The Valkyrie Confederation owes humanity a debt we can never fully repay. But more than that, humanity has taught us a lesson we desperately needed to learn. That strength is not about standing alone. That wisdom is knowing when to ask for help. That true civilization is measured not by power, but by compassion. The crowd was silent, listening. Effective immediately, the Valkyrie Confederation accepts the human offer of alliance, Daehyun said. Not as a gesture of payment, but as a genuine partnership. We will stand with humanity as they stood with us. We will learn from them. And we will strive to become the kind of people who help others, as they helped us. That applause erupted from the crowd. Not polite, formal applause, but genuine, emotional, grateful applause. People were crying, embracing, celebrating not just their survival but this new path forward. Captain Bora watched the speech from the bridge of the Times Morning Star asterisk. Her ship was in dock, undergoing repairs. Human engineers worked alongside Valkyrie crews, teaching them new techniques, sharing their knowledge freely. Engineer Yoonji was still aboard, working on the engine core. She had become friends with Bora's crew over the past few days. She taught them jokes in human languages. She shared pictures of her family back on Earth. She made them feel like equals, not people who needed saving. Your counselor speaks well, Unji said, taking a break from her work. It takes courage to admit mistakes so publicly. It does, Bora agreed. But it was necessary. We cannot move forward while pretending the past did not happen. She looked at Yoonji. Can I ask you something personal? Of course, Unji said. Why did you volunteer to stay behind? Bora asked. Your fleet is leaving. You could go with them. Instead, you chose to remain here, helping us repair our ships. Why? Unji smiled. Because the work is not done, she said simply. Winning the battle was important, but helping you rebuild is just as important. Maybe more important. Anyone can destroy. Building takes real skill. She gestured at the engine core they had been working on. Besides, I am learning from you too. Your power distribution systems are elegant, very efficient. I am taking notes to share with our engineers back home. Bora felt warmth in her chest. Unji was not just helping out of duty. She genuinely respected Valkyrie technology, genuinely wanted to learn from them. The humans did not see themselves as superior saviors. They saw the Valkyrie as equals with different knowledge to share. On the Times Eternal Vigil asterisk, Commander Jinwoo compiled the final battle analysis. He had spent days reviewing every sensor log, every tactical decision, every engagement. What he found fascinated him. "Sir, you need to see this," he told Admiral Hyun-woo. "The human battle doctrine is remarkable. Look at these patterns." He brought up tactical displays on the main screen. "They fight aggressively. Yes. But it is not reckless aggression. Every attack is calculated. They sacrifice when necessary, but always strategically. They learn from every engagement, adapting their tactics in real time." He pulled up another display. "And look at their casualty ratios. For every human lost, they eliminated an average of 67 swarm drones. That is not just superior technology. That is superior training, superior coordination, superior doctrine." Hyun-woo studied the displays. "They have been doing this for a long time," he said. "This was not their first rescue operation. They have refined their methods through experience." "Exactly," Jinwoo said. "And sir, I accessed human public records. They have conducted 43 major rescue operations in the past 20 years. 43 different civilizations saved from various threats. Pirates, natural disasters, hostile invasions. They respond to every distress call they receive. 43 rescues." Hyun-woo tried to imagine the cost. The ships lost, the people who died, the resources spent. And the humans did it without expecting payment. How can they afford it? He wondered aloud. "I think they believe they cannot afford not to," Jinwoo replied. "Look at their history. They almost destroyed themselves. They learned what happens when people ignore those who need help. They decided never to be those people again." Lieutenant Jisoo received a message from the human fleet. Admiral Taeyang was departing. His ship was the last to leave, ensuring all his people were accounted for. "Sir, Admiral Taeyang is hailing us," she reported. "Put him through," Hyun-woo said. Taeyang appeared on the screen. Behind him, Hyun-woo could see the bridge of the Times' indomitable Will ***, crew members working at their stations, preparing for departure. "Admiral Hyun-woo," Taeyang said. "We are ready to depart. Before we go, I wanted to say this. What happened here matters, not just because we saved lives, though that is important, but because you learned something. You and your people." He smiled. "The galaxy needs more people like you are becoming. People who ask for help when they need it. People who offer help when they can. People who understand that we are all stronger together." "We will try to live up to that," Hyun-woo said. "We will try to be worthy of what you did for us." "You already are," Taeyang said. "You just needed to realize it. Take care, Admiral. I hope we meet again under better circumstances." "I hope so too," Hyun-woo said. "Safe travels, Admiral Taeyang. Thank you for everything." The transmission ended. On the tactical display, the human fleet began jumping to faster than light. One by one, the ships vanished, leaving behind only the engineering teams and medical staff who had volunteered to stay. Hyun-woo sat in his command chair and looked at Velkar Prime on the main screen. The planet was safe. His people were alive. And everything had changed. "Sir, we are receiving messages from the fleet," Jisoo reported. "Captains requesting orders. What should they do now?" "Ender." Hyun-woo thought about Admiral Taeyang's words. About paying it forward. About becoming the kind of people who help others. "Send a message to all ships," he said. "We begin repairs immediately. We rebuild our fleet. We train our crews in new doctrines, learning from what the humans showed us. And we listen to the galactic communication channels." "Listen for what, sir?" Jisoo asked. "Distress calls," Hyun-woo said. "When we hear them, we answer." "Just like the humans answered ours," Jisoo smiled. "Yes, sir." The months that followed brought many changes to the Valkyrie Confederation. They rebuilt their fleet with help from human engineers. They opened their borders to human diplomats, traders, teachers. They shared their culture freely, learning human culture in return. But the biggest change was in how they saw themselves. The Valkyrie were no longer the proud, isolated civilization that needed no one. They were part of something larger now, part of a growing alliance of species who believed in helping each other. 6 months after the Battle of Velkar Prime, a distress signal reached Valkyrie space. A small colony on the edge of known space was under attack by pirates. They were desperate, outmatched, calling for anyone to help. Admiral Hyunwoo received the signal. He looked at his tactical staff. Lieutenant Jisoo, now promoted to commander. Captain Bora, given command of a new cruiser. Commander Jinwoo, now his second in command. His people, changed by what they had learned. All ships, Hyunwoo said into the fleet channel. Prepare for immediate departure. Someone needs help. We are going to answer. The Valkyrie fleet jumped to faster than light, racing toward the distress signal. They had learned from the best. Now, it was their turn to be the ones who came when called. Their turn to fight for people they did not know. Their turn to show that they had learned what it meant to be truly civilized. Years later, other species would talk about the day humanity saved the Valkyrie. They would speak of it as the moment when the galaxy began to change, when the old ways of pride and isolation began to fade, when civilizations started to understand that strength came not from standing alone, but from standing together. And the humans continued their work, answering distress calls, saving lives, asking nothing in return, teaching by example that the measure of a civilization was not in how powerful it was, but in how willing it was to use that power to help others. Because someone had to be first. Someone had to show the galaxy a better way. Humanity had chosen to be that someone. And now, others were choosing to follow. The galaxy was slowly learning what humans had always known. That the strongest thing you could say was not, "I don't need help." It was, "I'm here to help." And when the next crisis came, when the next distress call echoed across the stars, there would be not just humans answering. There would be Valkyrie ships too. And others, building a galaxy where no one had to face darkness alone. Because that was what they did now. That was what humanity had taught them. They answered the call.